It was supposed to be a happy day. The bakery smelled like sugar and vanilla, the air filled with laughter and the soft hum of birthday songs. A little girl, no more than 8 years old, pressed her nose against the glass display, her eyes sparkling as she looked at the beautiful cakes lined up behind it. Her father stood beside her, trying to smile, but something heavy rested in his eyes. He reached for his wallet, opened it slowly, and his heart sank. It was empty. The cashier looked up politely, waiting. The little girl turned to her dad, still smiling, not realizing what was happening. But the man knew. He had promised his daughter a birthday cake, something special just for her. And now, in front of strangers, he had to break that promise. His hands trembled as he whispered, "I'm sorry, sweetheart, maybe next time." Before we go further into this story, take a moment to subscribe to Kindness Lights, where we share real stories that remind us how beautiful humanity can be. If you believe in the power of small acts that make a big difference, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and help us spread kindness all around the world. The man's name was Tom. He was a single father, doing everything he could to raise his daughter, Lily, after her mother passed away 2 years earlier. They lived in a small apartment on the edge of town. Tom worked long hours at a local factory, but after recent layoffs, he'd been getting fewer shifts and smaller paychecks. Every dollar mattered. Lily's birthday had crept up faster than he expected. She never asked for much, no fancy toys, no parties, no expensive gifts. All she wanted this year was a cake with pink frosting and her name written in blue. Tom had saved a few dollars here and there, thinking it would be enough. But after paying for rent, utilities, and groceries, his wallet came up short. Still, he'd promised her the cake. And a promise was something he never broke, until that day. As they stood in the bakery, Tom looked at his daughter's hopeful face and felt the sting of failure. The world seemed to slow down. He mumbled an apology to the cashier and turned to leave, his arm gently around Lily's shoulders. She didn't say anything. She just nodded, trying to be brave, even though her small heart was breaking. What Tom didn't know was that someone had been watching. At a corner table sat a woman in a cream-colored suit, sipping her coffee quietly. She had seen everything, the way Tom's shoulders slumped, the way Lily tried to smile through disappointment. That woman was Rebecca, the owner and CEO of the bakery chain. She was visiting this particular store that day for a routine check, never expecting to witness a moment that would change her perspective on success and kindness. Rebecca stood up, walked over to the counter, and whispered something to the cashier. Then she picked out one of the most beautiful cakes in the display, a vanilla layer cake with pink frosting and blue lettering that read, "Happy Birthday, Lily." She paid for it herself and asked the cashier to call the little girl back. Tom and Lily had just reached the door when they heard the voice behind them. "Excuse me, sir," the cashier said softly, "could you wait a moment?" Tom turned around, confused. Rebecca approached them with a warm smile, holding the cake box gently in her hands. "This is for you," she said, kneeling slightly to meet Lily's eyes. "Every little girl deserves a birthday cake." Tom froze. His throat tightened, and for a moment, he couldn't speak. "Ma'am, that's very kind, but I can't accept this. I don't want charity." Rebecca shook her head. "It's not charity," she said softly. "It's a gift. From one human being to another. Please, let her have her special day." Lily looked up at her dad, her eyes wide and hopeful again. Tom swallowed hard, finally nodding. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice breaking. Rebecca smiled and handed the cake to Lily, who hugged it tightly like it was the most precious thing in the world. "Happy birthday, sweetheart," she said. When they left the bakery, Tom turned one last time to see Rebecca still standing there, smiling. He didn't know what to say, so he simply mouthed the words, "Thank you." That evening, in their tiny apartment, Tom lit a single candle on the cake. The flickering glow filled the room as Lily clapped her hands and sang her own birthday song. There weren't any balloons or decorations, but there was laughter, pure, joyful laughter that echoed through the walls. For Tom, that moment meant everything. It wasn't just about the cake, it was about dignity, compassion, and the reminder that even in a world that often feels cold, there are still people who care. A few days later, Rebecca couldn't stop thinking about what had happened. She realized that her business had grown so much that she'd lost touch with the human stories behind it. That night, she made a decision. The next morning, she called her team and announced a new initiative, Cakes of Kindness. The idea was simple. Every month, each of her bakeries would donate birthday cakes to families going through tough times. No questions asked. No forms, no paperwork, just kindness. The program quickly spread across all her stores. Customers began donating, employees volunteered extra hours, and soon, other businesses in town joined in. What started as one simple act of compassion became a movement that brought people together. Months later, Tom and Lily walked back into that same bakery. This time, not to buy a cake, but to thank the people who had shown them kindness when they needed it most. Rebecca happened to be there again. When she saw them, she smiled and said, "I was hoping I'd see you two again." Tom handed her a small note Lily had written. It said, "Thank you for making my birthday happy. When I grow up, I want to be kind like you." Rebecca's eyes filled with tears. She knew then that kindness isn't about grand gestures, it's about moments like these. Moments when one person's compassion can light up someone else's darkest day. So, if you take anything away from this story, let it be this: kindness is never wasted. You never know how far one small act can go or how deeply it can touch someone's life. Thanks for watching this story on Kindness Lights. If it touched your heart, please share it with someone who needs a reminder that goodness still exists. And remember, no matter how small your act may seem, it could be the light someone's been waiting for.